Clark in transition. Clark, oh, what a look! And Hull lays it in!
A huge moment was finally here. Caitlin Clark versus Paige Bueckers. Two of the most talked about stars in basketball. The matchup everyone had been waiting for.
It's not Paige versus Caitlin, and it takes the entire team to win a basketball game. And
so what happened when they actually played? Clark didn't just win, she overwhelmed Bueckers. Even with a minutes limit, only 25 minutes on the floor, and coming back from injury, Clark still delivered a performance that made WNBA history.
All eyes on Iowa and Caitlin Clark looking to cement her legacy with a championship this weekend.
People couldn't believe it. She put up 64 points in one half. One pass was so unreal it basically froze the game. How does someone do that in a single half without even pushing all the way? This wasn't just a win. It was a message. Here's what made the night unforgettable, starting with why it mattered. To get it, you have to know how long this has been building between them. Clark and Bueckers have been on a collision course for almost 10 years.
But I think the biggest thing about her is she competes, and she's just a winner. She wants to win at all costs. So I know going into that, it'll be a great matchup.
They were teammates on USA youth teams. They went at each other in AAU when they were still kids. Then in college, Clark at Iowa and Bueckers at UConn, they became the clear top names in the sport, and the comparisons never stopped. They weren't just great players, they were the stars who could pack any building. Their first real classic came in the 2024 Final Four, Iowa versus UConn, with the title game on the line. It was non-stop drama, swings and momentum, big shots, clutch moments all over the place. Iowa won 71-69, and Clark walked away with the edge that night. Bueckers hit a deep shot late, but it still wasn't enough. From that point on, it felt like Bueckers had been waiting for her chance to answer back. Then came the 2025 WNBA draft. Clark, after winning Rookie of the Year, had already become the league's biggest show. Bueckers, after staying at UConn one more season, went number 1 to the Dallas Wings. Now the rivalry had moved to the pros, and everyone circled the date for their first real WNBA meeting. The first shot was June 27th in Dallas, but Clark was out with a groin injury.
Bueckers responds from deep.
Clark could only watch while Bueckers put up 27 points and 6 assists. Indiana still won 94-86, but nobody treated it like the real matchup. That had to wait. Then on July 13th, in a sold-out Gainbridge Fieldhouse in Indianapolis, it finally arrived. Indiana coach Stephanie White made it clear this was bigger than a normal game. Before tip-off, she compared it to the classic WNBA-era showdowns like Cheryl Swoops versus Lisa Leslie, star versus star, the kind of matchup that brings people in. She said people tune in for faces like LeBron and Steph, and this was that kind of moment for the WNBA. The arena felt different. Fans traveled in from Iowa and Minnesota, the home states of Clark and Bueckers. You could see college jerseys mixed in with WNBA gear. It didn't feel like a random regular season night. It felt like a real event. And right away, both stars showed why. Early on, Clark made a big defensive read, jumped the passing lane, grabbed the steal, and went straight into a fast break layup through contact. The place exploded. That's what Clark does. She doesn't only score, she flips the game fast and punishes every mistake. But Bueckers didn't hesitate either. A few plays later, she pulled up from way out, around 29 feet, with Clark right on her, and drilled the three anyway. Dallas went wild, and Bueckers let Clark know she was here for it. The first quarter was everything people wanted. Both finished with 7 points and 2 assists. It looked like a real back-and-forth battle. Then the second quarter changed the whole story. The blow-up. Indiana caught fire, and Clark took over as the engine of everything. Eric McDonald hit a three just 33 seconds into the quarter to put the Fever ahead, and after that, Dallas couldn't slow them down. Indiana's offense became sharp and nonstop, open cuts, hard screens, clean looks, and perfect timing. And Clark was the one driving it all.
Caitlin Clark, who is incredible from the free throw line, she misses the second free throw.
She ran the offense like the one person on the floor who was already seeing the next play. Then came the moment that stopped everyone. Clark got a block on defense. Aaliyah Boston grabbed the rebound and pushed the ball forward right away. Clark sprinted up the floor and got it near midcourt. Sophie Cunningham was flying down the right side with a defender between them. Most players would pull it back and reset. Clark didn't. She fired a full-court laser over the defender, right into Cunningham's hands without breaking stride. Easy layup. The announcers went crazy, calling it a touchdown. That play said everything. Clark sees lanes others don't, she dares to try passes others won't, and she can actually hit them. Indiana scored 36 points in that second quarter, hitting 16 of 21 shots, 76% shooting in a full quarter. Dallas had no solution. They tried traps, switches, different looks, nothing stuck. Every time they thought they had her contained, Clark made another fast read and set up another clean basket.
It looked like she was definitely in some pain there. Missed 4 games with that groin injury.
By halftime, Indiana was up 18. They had 64 points in the first half, the most any WNBA team scored in one half all season. The game already felt decided, and Clark had played only about 20 minutes. Now let's get clear on what she actually did, because the stats are wild. She ended with 14 points, 13 assists, and 5 steals in only 25 minutes. That doesn't sound crazy until you put it in WNBA history. Clark became just the 5th player ever to have multiple games with at least 10 points, 10 assists, and 5 steals. The league has existed since 1997, with thousands of games and countless stars, and only 5 players have done that more than once. And she's doing it in her second season. Then it gets even bigger. She's also the only player in WNBA history to post this exact level twice: 14+ points, 13+ assists, and 5+ steals. No one else has done it 2 times. It's her record by herself. She also became the fastest guard ever to reach 100 assists in a season, and the quickest guard to hit both 200 points and 100 assists. It feels like every time she plays, another record falls. And she did all of this while still on a minutes limit, only 3 games back from injury. She wasn't even supposed to push hard, yet she still led a blowout while barely playing half the game. Indiana finished with 30 assists on 40 made shots, which is elite ball movement anywhere. 5 players hit double figures. Kelsey Mitchell scored 20. Natasha Howard had 18. Aaliyah Boston added 17. Sophie Cunningham gave 13 off the bench. It was a full team win, no question. But everyone knew who made it all run. Clark was the driver. She created the open looks. She kept defenders chasing. She made the Fever look like a real contender instead of a team still finding its way. 14 points, 13 assists, 5 steals, 25 minutes. That's history. Paige Bueckers' game. This isn't here to knock Paige Bueckers. What she's doing as a rookie is impressive. She finished with 21 points on 9 of 15 shooting, which is strong and efficient. She also had 4 rebounds and 4 assists. She kept her streak of double-digit scoring to start her career going, 17 straight games. Only 3 players in WNBA history have started their careers with longer runs: Aya Wilson, Candace Parker, and Natalie Williams. That's elite company. Bueckers showed why she went number 1 and why Dallas is building around her. She plays smooth, her pull-up jumper is clean, and she gets to her spots even with good defense on her. At one point in the first half, she even took the ball from Clark and went coast to coast for an and one. She's fearless and she doesn't flinch in big moments. But the gap right now is this: Clark lifts everyone around her in a way that changes the whole team. Without Clark, Indiana looks solid. With her, they look like a real threat to win it all.
Clark trying to force the action, banks it in for the nation's leading scorer, Caitlin Clark.
Bueckers is still learning how to control a pro game like that, and she will get there. Her feel for basketball is obvious. But in July 2025, Clark is operating at a level Bueckers hasn't reached yet. Fever coach Stephanie White said it after the game in a simple way: when you play someone with a high IQ who can stay calm and keep the flow even when you try to disrupt them, it's tough. That's the line between good and great. The best moments. A few plays made this game stand out. First was that early steal and coast-to-coast finish, Clark reading the pass and turning it into points instantly. Then there was the deep 3 in the second quarter, the kind of shot she had been missing during her slump. She had talked before the game about working with the team's development coach, and how seeing stats from a Steph Curry slump helped her relax about her own shooting. Then she hit one from the logo and the building exploded. You could see the confidence come back right away. Later, there was a post-up in the third quarter that caught everyone off guard. Clark isn't known for playing with her back to the basket, but with a smaller defender on her, she backed down, used a pump fake, and hit a smooth turnaround. The announcers couldn't believe it, because that's not usually in her usual style. That's what makes her hard to guard. Once you think you know what's coming, she shows something new. There was also the rim block and quick outlet that led to an easy score, plus a one-handed bounce pass through traffic that set up Mitchell for a wide-open 3. And there were stretches where Indiana made the extra pass, then another, until someone had a layup with nobody near them. It was high-level basketball, the kind that makes every possession feel worth watching. So what does this game mean for the bigger picture? A few things are clear. First, the Clark vs. Bueckers rivalry is real, and it's going to be must-watch for years. Even with a one-sided score, the head-to-head moments still delivered. They have history, they respect each other, and their styles clash in a way that keeps it interesting. They'll trade wins. They'll have games people talk about for a long time. And they'll push each other higher because neither wants to be second. The league needs matchups like this. Second, Clark has clearly pulled ahead. She's not just a top young guard or a fun highlight player. She's building a real case as the best point guard in the WNBA period. Her vision is rare, her passing creates easy points all night, and she can take over when it matters. The big part is she's still improving. If this was her while limited, what does she look like at full strength? Third, Indiana looks like a real title-level team when they play this connected. Because Clark creates so many open shots, defenses can't just key in on her. If they help, she finds the open shooter. If they stay home, she attacks off the dribble. It forces teams to pick their poison, and not many can survive it for 4 quarters. When the Fever have 5 players in double figures and the ball moves like it did here, they're extremely hard to beat. Clark made her point, but the season keeps moving. Can anyone match her level? Can Bueckers close the gap? Can any team figure out how to disrupt what Clark is doing? Still help turn it into a blowout while playing barely half the game. Indiana ended with 30 assists on 40 made shots, which is elite ball movement anywhere. 5 players scored in double figures. Kelsey Mitchell had 20, Natasha Howard had 18, Aaliyah Boston had 17, and Sophie Cunningham had 13 off the bench. It was a full team win. But everyone knew who made it run. Clark made the reads, created the looks, and kept the defense guessing. 14 points, 13 assists, 5 steals, 25 minutes. That's history. So what does this game mean? 3 things stood out. First, Clark vs. Bueckers is a real rivalry, and it's going to matter for a long time. Even with a lopsided score, the head-to-head moments were still fun and tense. They have history, they respect each other, and their styles are different in a way that works. They'll trade wins, they'll have big games, and they'll push each other higher. The league needs matchups like this. Second, Clark has separated herself. She's not just a young star or a highlight machine. She's making a real case to be the best point guard in the WNBA. Her vision, passing, control, and confidence stand out every night. And the scary part is she's still improving. If this is her while limited, what does full strength look like? Third, the Fever look like real title contenders when they play like this. Defenses can't only focus on Clark. If they send help, she finds the open shooter. If they don't, she attacks and creates her own shot. It forces teams into bad choices all game. When Indiana gets 5 players in double figures and the ball moves the way it did here, they're extremely hard to beat. Clark made her point, but the story isn't over. Can Bueckers close the gap? Can anyone slow Clark down? The next matchup will tell us even more, and it could shape where the WNBA goes next.